Welcome back to University of Phoenix Stadium. Dave Pasch, Ron Wolfley, Jody Jackson as the Cardinals take on the Texans in the preseason opener. Second year for Bruce Arians as the Cardinals head coach. And it's time for Wolf's Keys to the Game, brought to you by your Bally Chevy dealers.
Oh, once again, I think this is going to be a key to the entire season, actually, David. Quarterback protection and then rush defense, of course. Look, you've got a guy in Carson Palmer that if you allow him to set up, he's as good as you want to be, right? But if you can disrupt his rhythm, if you can disrupt his timing, now all of a sudden he becomes an average quarterback, maybe even below average. So I think protection's going to be key. On that note right there, that means I'm looking at the right tackle, Bobby Massey, tonight. And then rush defense, you tell me there's not a significant drop-off in rush defense for the Cardinals. Number one, David, last year in the National Football League in rush defense. Man, could you have a better team attribute than that when you're playing in the NFC West? And because of that, you tell me they're not going to have a significant drop-off. I'll tell you there'll be a better defense overall. And because of that, I'm going to be looking at Kevin Minter tonight.
All about physicality. It's one of the things that Cardinals coaches have stressed. They realize playing in the NFC West, you have to match the physicality of the Super Bowl champion Seahawks, Niners, and now even the Rams, who are expected to be better in 2014. Cardinals won the toss. They'll receive. Britton Golden is the deep man. Randy Bullock will kick it away for Houston. Some new rules and also some experimentation going on during the preseason, which we'll talk about as we go along. Season is underway, and Golden, who can really fly, will take the short kickoff. And Golden hit hard at the 21-yard line. So Carson Palmer, who was the first overall pick in 2003, set a career high for passing yards last year, third in team history, just under 4,300 yards. Did throw 22 picks. That was a career high, but played much better in the final half of the season as he grew in this offense.
Once again, if you could disrupt his rhythm and his timing, he becomes an average to below average quarterback. You keep him clean, he's as good as you want.
Cardinals going with two men in the backfield as Andre Ellington will carry it here, and he's grabbed at the point of attack and dropped. Seeing Ellington and Robert Hughes starting the ball game in the backfield. Hughes trying to make the team as a fullback. Check tonight's starting lineup, brought to you by Bud Light, who reminds you fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. The right tackle position, Wolf, how important is that for Bobby Massey to win the job here in camp?
It's critical, of course, because I think everywhere else, I think Jonathan Cooper, even though he struggled here in training camp, I think he's going to be just fine. Jared Valdir, a massive upgrade at left tackle. The one question mark I have at right tackle, let's hope Bobby turns into a plus and not a minus.
Started 16 games 2 years ago, then didn't see a lot of action last season. Here's Palmer, sacked on second and long by perhaps the best overall defensive player in the NFL, J.J. Watt.
Boy, J.J. Watt right there working against Jonathan Cooper, too, and that was a big, fat no contest.
Joining Watt in the starting lineup for the Houston Texans is the first overall pick, Jadeveon Clowney, but J.J. Watt, 31 sacks the last 2 years and 23 passes broken up. It's incredible for a former walk-on tight end at Central Michigan. Ended up at Wisconsin, where he was a great player and a first-round pick.
Now they got him flipped to the other side.
Third down and long. Palmer gonna fire it deep, and hanging on to it and getting the first down is John Brown, rookie out of Pittsburgh State, who's wowed everybody in camp. A 25-yard gain. And
there it is once again, David. That time a four-man rush from the Houston Texans. Look at the pocket right here for Carson Palmer to step up into, throw that dart. John Brown almost dropped that ball. Man, I'll tell you what, that kid has been the talk of the offseason, the talk of training camp for the Big Red.
Small school in Kansas, Pittsburgh State, age 24. Gets a first down, and Palmer to the air again. And going to dump it off here at the 43-yard line. It's Andre Ellington, who caught 39 passes last year, and they're hoping that, as there's a penalty flag down in the secondary, we've seen a lot of illegal contact, legal hands to the face calls, about 5 per game so far in the preseason.
Illegal contact, defense number 26. It's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot automatic first down.
That's it. Hockley looks like he's been slacking at the bench press here in the offseason.
Boy, what do you think Eddie does? You think he's backstage, got the dumbbells out, doing some hammer curls, getting it all pumped up for the game, and I'll tell you, it looks pretty good.
See John Carlson in motion there, lining up on the left side of the formation. First year here, started 8 games with the Vikings last year. Play action for Palmer. And wide open is Rob Hausler. Got the first down and stayed inbound. Finally pushed out inside the 20 at the 17-yard line.
Oh, what a thing of beauty it is, David. You're getting 12 personnel in rundown situation, 1st and 10. And you go 12 personnel, little protection, 7-man protection, and Carson Palmer hits a wide open Rob Hausler on the drag. And look at him finish. That's the way you finish right there, Robbie.
So important for Hausler to step up in his 4th year out of Florida Atlantic, former 3rd-round pick. His spot on the 53-man roster not a guarantee. Has to have a good preseason. Here's Larry Fitzgerald. Good open field tackle at the 13-yard line by Brandon Harris. Fitz, the all-time leader for the Cardinals in catches, receiving yards, and touchdowns. He needs 54 catches for 900 in his Hall of Fame career.
Well, that's a hootie-hoo right there. Did you see that? Regular personnel from the Arizona Cardinals. 2 backs once again. 8 in the box for the Texans. I love that. If the corner's playing off, just throw it to your wide receiver. Force that corner to be a tackler.
But a good drive so far, including that 3rd down and 16 pickup. Palmer with a flag down, fires, end zone, touchdown, John Carlson. You had Jadeveon Clowney out there covering the tight end. Carlson never did that in college. I think this is coming back anyway.
Offense, number 62, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat 2nd down.
As mentioned, we've had 5 of those per game in the preseason, either illegal contact or illegal hands to the face. We hope that they're just working this out in the preseason. Once we get to the regular season, the pushes and the pulls won't be called as closely.
Well, not only that, too. Look, even though that play is coming back, believe me, BA and the coaches right now smiling. They don't like the penalty, of course, but that worked and that was executed to perfection.
You know how many times Clowney covered a tight end in college? 0. 2nd down and 6. And here's Ellington with a beautiful cutback and gets back near the original line of scrimmage at the 17-yard line. Cardinals now in the CDW red zone. CDW, people who get it. Andre Ellington will get it a lot this year as a rusher and a pass catcher.
Boy, he is quick as a he-cup, isn't he? I mean, there's a guy right there. You could just see it. His feet are just electric.
You think it's realistic to see him get 20, 25 touches a game?
I don't know if it is, David, 20, 25 touches. But I will tell you right now, the coaching staff believes he's headed for a 2,000-yard season.
3rd down and long, and a beautiful catch by Jerron Brown Wright at the 1st down marker. Former undrafted player who made the team coming out of camp last year.
Stake a claim, Sooner. Stake a claim. How about that? What a grab by Jerron Brown.
And he got the 1st down. The Cardinals going to go no huddle here.
That is a big-time catch by a guy that has had an awesome camp.
They had to get the football back. Otherwise, the Cardinals are ready to snap it. 1st down and goal. Palmer fires. Touchdown! Fitz! Beautiful opening drive by the Cardinals' first-team offense.
Well, that was like stealing. Bill O'Brien is not going to be very happy right there. You got Larry's just working against the corner, ran a slant route. Obviously, the corner thought he had some type of help on the inside, some type of vice on Larry Fitzgerald. There was no vice.
If you're wondering right now why Dave Zassadil is spotting the ball at the 22-yard line as the holder, this is the experiment here, weeks 1 and 2 of the preseason. The 32 or 33-yard extra point, and it's no problem for rookie Chandler Catanzaro out of Clemson. Larry Fitzgerald with a touchdown. That might be it for the first-team offense. Great drive, and they take the lead here in the preseason opener. Larry Fitzgerald with a touchdown catch. He had 10 last year. The 5th time that he's had at least 10 touchdown catches. And with that passing TD, Wells Fargo donates $500 to local public schools for the Passing Touchdowns for Schools program. Wells Fargo, together, will go far.
You know, David, with the emergence of Michael Floyd, too, I think Larry Fitzgerald is ready to have a monster season himself. Talking about Ted Ginn Jr., the speed that he brings to the table. John Brown as well, that kind of speed. And Michael Floyd opposite of Larry Fitzgerald. Look, it's going to be difficult for defensive coordinators to gang up on Fitz the way that they have.
Chandler Catanzaro trying to win the kicking job from Jay Feely. Guy with an excellent leg, and you see it here on kickoffs, kicking it through the end zone. That's something that will please Bruce Arians as he's trying to make a decision on the rookie Catanzaro or the veteran Jay Feely.
Well, this guy's done it a long time. Nothing but a slant route right there. Kind of looked like that slant in the Super Bowl, as a matter of fact.
Carson Palmer overcomes a sack with a perfect 5 for 5 for 84 passing yards on that drive. The Cardinals scoring drive presented by Santan Ford. It's all about you. Took 4 minutes and 23 seconds off the clock as the Cardinals take a 7-0 lead. Arizona native Ryan Fitzpatrick, the new Texans starting quarterback. And they run it on first down, and breaking a tackle and getting across the 25 is Jonathan Grimes, brought down by Calais Campbell, 7-year pro. Let's take a look at the Houston offense. We mentioned Ryan Fitzpatrick. And obviously Andre Johnson, who is not in the starting lineup. He's going to be their go-to guy, though, along with running back Arian Foster. Chris Myers, Pro Bowler at center. Pretty good left tackle, too, in Dwayne Brown.
Boy, Kevin Minter came clean on that last delayed little draw there and missed the tackle in the backfield.
Enter the new starter at inside linebacker, along with Larry Foote, with Dansby in Cleveland and Darrell Washington suspended. After a 7-yard pickup, Fitzpatrick's pass incomplete. Intended for Garrett Graham. Tony Jefferson got a piece of it. Safety who started a couple of games last year as an undrafted rookie.
So I really like what I see out of Tony Jefferson as well. Here's a guy that really doesn't have all the tools, but man, he gets it done.
You mentioned Kevin Minter on that opening play. You're expecting big things from him, and so are the Cardinals.
Kevin Minter is just a guy that I think is perfectly suited to be a Mike backer in the NFL.
Third down and 3. Rookie Dale Buchanan, check him out right at the 30-yard line. Fitzpatrick, and it's nearly intercepted at the 28 by Gerard Powers. He couldn't hang on, but the Texans have to punt.
Well, that is a nice stand right there. 4-man rush. Robber coverage being played by the Cardinals. Man across the board, David, with a free safety high in the center of the field and a lurker. They bring a guy down in the middle of the field, a free hitter. They rush for. Well executed by the Cardinals.
Braden Golden, who returned the kickoff, will now return the punt. Ted Ginn expected to be their main kick and punt returner this year. It's a beautiful kick. Golden from his 15. Able to make the first man miss, and the second. Golden absolutely smoked by DJ Swearinger. There is a penalty marker down. Thankfully, Golden's all right. Swearinger knocked him off his feet that time with a hit. 57-yard punt. Likely going to come back here. The second team offense on the field for the Cardinals, so the first group done after 4 minutes.
Boy,
during the return, holding by the receiving team, number 28. It's a 10-yard penalty enforced from the dead ball spot. Arizona keeps the ball after enforcement. First down.
You know, in retrospect, I think Eddie needs to work on his triceps. Bicep is good. Tricep could be a problem.
Justin Bethel was the man that committed the penalty as Swearinger, legal and perfect strike. 7-0 Cardinals on top of Houston. Have a question for Ron Wolfley during tonight's game? Tweet at AZ Cardinals using the hashtag #TweetWolf, and you may have your question answered during the broadcast. Cardinals' second team offense on the field, with the exception of Jonathan Cooper, who stays in at left guard. Drew Stanton, backup quarterback, did not take a snap during the regular season last year. And here's Stephon Taylor. Nice cutback. And he's up to the 23-yard line for a 6-yard gain.
You know, David, you go ahead and play this game long enough, right? Sometimes you're the vehicle and sometimes you're the repo man. And I think DJ Swearinger there might be holding some documents that he needs Britton Golden to sign. Oh, baby. That is legal and it's brutal. And that's the kind of football the NFL wants to see played. Legal and brutal.
Here's 2nd down and 4. It'll be Taylor again. And there's Jadeveon Clowney matched up with a tight end. And Clowney, the top pick in the draft, buries the tailback for a loss of about 5.
Well, he made a lot of those plays at South Carolina, didn't he? Watch him right here coming off the edge, crashes through. Darren Fell's got to do a better job, obviously, at the point of attack. But Jadeveon Clowney, the explosion in the strength. This guy, what a freak he is.
The play he made in the bowl game 2 years ago against Michigan was the best and the worst thing that happened because now everybody expects it. That was very similar right there as he beat his man right on the snap and made the huge hit. Now 3rd down and 9. Here's Stanton, who's not played in a regular season game since 2010. Stanton going to fire deep. What a grab for a 1st down. The rookie John Brown continues to shine. Gain of about 24.
Tampa 2 being played. That's 2 safeties high over the top. Mike Backer running down the middle of the field. Only a 3-man rush. Great job by Drew Stanton coming back. And there is John Brown making that grab right there. Wow. Good protection by this unit right there and a great read by Drew Stanton.
Everybody knows about the speed, but when you see the hands there in traffic make the catch, going to get the eye of the coaches.
He is Peter Parker, David. I'm telling you right now, he's got webbing on those hands. Snatching it.
Got a timeout. The play clock was down to 3. We'll step aside for a moment. 7-0 Cardinals on a Palmer to Fitzgerald touchdown. Welcome back. Dave Pasch, Ron Wolfley, Jody Jackson. The Cardinals with a 1st and 10. 2nd team offense on the field after a great opening drive engineered by Carson Palmer. Drew Stanton now in at quarterback. 8th year pro out of Michigan State. A nice pass to John Brown for about 24 yards to get a 1st down. Play fake. Stanton going to fire it deep, going for Brown. It was underthrown and a flag. Now Brown had Brandon Harris beat too. Had to adjust, but a penalty flag at the 19.
You got to love that right there. You go 12 personnel play action once again. The Cardinals have been able to run the ball here. The inside zone has been effective. Little play action. Drew Stanton sets up, and John Brown had him beat.
6. The ball is placed at the spot of the foul. 1st down.
And that's a 2nd-round pick out of Miami, Brandon Harris, from a few years ago that Brown beat easily.
That ball was badly underthrown by Drew Stanton.
But think of the added dimension now. You have Fitz and Floyd. Now Floyd can run a little bit better probably than Larry at this stage of Fitz's career. As here's Brown out in the flat, catching the swing pass, and gets good yardage to about the 11. Gain of 8 on the play.
David, I watched John Brown. I watch him run. Just jogging back to the huddle right now. This guy, he is Marvin Harrison. He looks exactly like Marvin Harrison. The way he moves, the way he jogs. I'll bet you if you were to measure Marvin Harrison's femur and John Brown's femur, they have the exact same femur.
We'll do that in between this game and our next one, okay? They're going to run Taylor here on 2nd down. He's inside the 10, close to the 1st down. Cardinals are in the CDW red zone. CDW people who get it. Now, you're not the only one that's made the comparison to Marvin Harrison. Some of the coaches, including a guy that's, well, he's been in the NFL for 36 years, Tom Moore, and talking about John Brown, comparing him to the great Marvin Harrison.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I was talking to BA about that very thing, and he said to Tom Moore, who does he remind you of? And without hesitation, Tommy said, Marvin.
You said it exactly like that, too. Here's third down and short, and Hughes on the catch, trying to win that fist fight with Swearinger to get the first down. He looked like he did that time.
This is going to be a difficult proposition for BA because he's going to have a fullback on his team. I think Robert Hughes is going to make this team, and I cannot wait to see what BA calls Robert Hughes. Because I promise you it's not going to be a fullback. He's going to say he's an H-back or something like that. He refuses to call him a fullback, but that's what he is.
First and goal at the 8-yard line. Here's Taylor. Second-year man out of Stanford got tripped up by Tim Jamison. And Jonathan Cooper down. Remember last year in the third preseason game, broke his leg, missed the entire season, been slow to recover, has not looked great in camp. He's saying, I'm okay, I'm going to stay in the game. But anytime you see 61 go down, the former number 7 pick, it's scary.
Yeah, and again, Jonathan has not had a great training camp, and you wonder if it's physical, is it mental, whatever it is, he seems to be struggling.
Second and goal on the 6. Taylor again, and boy, Clowney nailed him. Backside at the 5-yard line. A gain of 1. Bring up third down and goal.
Boy, you just look at Davian Clowney. My goodness, the perfect specimen. What is he, David? 6'6"?
Yeah. It's Julius Peppers.
275 pounds. Run like the wind. Look, the people at Johns Hopkins, they follow him around waiting for something to fall off him. The guy is an absolute freak. And I mean that in a good way.
Sure. Third down and goal on the 5-yard line. Nate Potter's got to protect Stanton with Clowney coming from behind. And Stanton got the pass away. Oh, what a grab! Touchdown! Jaron Brown with 2 defenders on him.
Welcome to the fold, Jaron Brown. Here is a guy that has really turned it on the last 2 weeks. And look at this strike by Drew Stanton coming right into your living room and then picked from the sky by Jaron Brown. His hands, he's catching the ball so much better than he was last training camp. It's not even close, David. This guy, I believe, is going to be your 5th wide receiver.
Snap was high. Catanzaro nails the long point after as the Cardinals with touchdown catches by Fitz and Jaron Brown. Beautiful throw by Stanton. Cardinals offense looks fantastic early. Well, as Wolf said before the break, hard to argue that Jaron Brown has a spot on the 53-man roster as the 5th wide receiver. A nice catch there for a touchdown. 2 days after every Cardinals win, you get 50% off online orders at Papa John's. Enter promo code Cardinals50 at papajohns.com. Sammy Watkins was the guy everybody talked about 2 years ago at Clemson. Jaron Brown didn't play a whole lot, but the Cardinals liked what they saw, and they signed him to a college free agent deal. Made the roster last year and had 11 catches, 1 touchdown.
It excels in transition.
To the layman, that's special teams. Here's Keyshawn Martin. And he gets planted at the 17-yard line by Kenny Demmons, another undrafted free agent from last year, ended up making the team. Here's Jody.
Well, Dave, Larry Fitzgerald and Jaron Brown with the touchdowns, but John Brown, the 3rd-round pick, a key in both of those scoring drives. And if he looks comfortable, maybe it's because quarterback Carson Palmer invited John Brown to work out with him in the offseason.
You know, I knew there was something special for a guy from a small school, with not a ton of catches, not a ton of accolades in college to get drafted that high and be that size. But thinking of BA's track record with receivers and knowing that he liked this guy a lot, I knew there was going to be something special about him. And we've caught glimpses of what he can do, and I can't wait to see him on game day. But just love being around him. He loves the game. He's young. He's impressionable. I kind of look at myself as a little bit of a coach, a little bit of a mentor, and just trying to kind of bring him along because, it's a big difference going from Pittsburgh State to the Arizona Cardinals, and he's going to have some growing pains, and I'm going to do everything I can to try to limit those as much as possible.
Carson Palmer took John under his wing, and you can already see, guys, that chemistry out here in preseason game number 1.
The other thing about him, too, Wolf, is that in talking to John Brown, he's a guy that doesn't seem like this is too big for him.
Holding, offense, number 75, 10-yard penalty, repeat second down.
Got a holding there on the field, David. They're going to back the Texans up, but I'm with you 100%. The most impressive thing about John Brown is the fact he came from Pittsburgh State. Where is Pittsburgh State? Is that in Kansas somewhere, David?
Yeah.
Pittsburgh State, a Division II school, the Gorillas. That much I know that they are. The most impressive thing, he's totally absorbed the offense, and he did it early.
Meanwhile, 2nd and 16 for the Texans. The Cardinals' first-team defense still out there. Fitzpatrick. His pass deflected and picked off. Antonio Cromartie got it on the redirection after it hit about 4 Cardinals. And the offense back on the field.
Boy, if I'm not mistaken, that was the Centaur who got the big paw up there and batted that thing into the air.
It was
yes,
Minter.
It was.
Yep.
Kevin Minter got one of his horns onto the ball, batted it into the air, and Antonio Cromartie, the Crow, finally comes down with it. That's a great play by Kevin Minter.
Also, how about Kareem Martin getting a little push too there in the backfield, rookie out of North Carolina?
Well, you like to see it right now. The Arizona Cardinals, some of the young guys coming out here balling.
So first down at the 13 of Houston. Stanton to the air. To the end zone. John Brown couldn't hang on. Might have been deflected by Albert Mack.
Oh, boy. I think Drew Stanton wants that one back. David, he had John Brown. John Brown beat his man. Had him on the skinny post, and he was late and threw it behind him. That is a ball that Drew would like back.
Tonight's 1st and 10 on-screen technology brought to you by the Arizona Lottery. You can't win if you don't play. 2nd down. They're going to run it here. Taylor trying to find a lane to the outside. Taylor fighting for yardage. Still lost a couple on the play, so 3rd down and long coming up.
Yeah, I think right there you go back, a little delayed draw. They call that the speed draw. Stephon Taylor bounced that to the outside. I think that's a mistake for him. I think he ought to take that in between the tackles. He had something to his left to come back to, but I think he saw some color, an unblocked white jersey, and that's what pushed him to the outside, but that's not a good option, getting the edge for Stephon Taylor.
So 3rd down and 11. Stanton with time, and Brown can't hang on. The pass a little behind, maybe too high, so it's 4th down. See how rookie Chandler Catanzaro handles his first field goal attempt.
Well, the one thing you like to see is that John Brown continues to get open, and he was open right there. Now, that's a ball I think he's got to come down with. We've seen him come down with that all training camp, all offseason, really. He's made that catch. That's a ball that John Brown has got to catch.
Now, Catanzaro's already made 2 extra points, and they've been from this exact distance, although this would be worth 3 points if they can put it through. 17-0. And the Cardinals get 3 points after the Cromartie interception. And for every successful Cardinals field goal, Cigna will make a generous contribution to Cardinals charities benefiting the Muscular Dystrophy Association.
Well, that's good to see right there. Catanzaro, right? A little consistency on those extra points, on that field goal, and that's what he needs. Well, these young kickers, they come into their first preseason game, and boy, they cinch up the girdle because they know, my goodness, this thing could get a little sideways on me, or maybe I can go out and make the team. Right now, that consistency bodes well for Catanzaro.
First team offense won 8 plays as Carson Palmer was sharp, and the Cardinals got Larry Fitzgerald open for a touchdown after Rob Hauser took it deep into Texan territory.
Boy, it was good to see Rob Hausler get the ball, make a play, finish a play. He's an incredible athlete. He's got all the skills that it takes to be a successful tweener in the NFL.
You look at Carson Palmer, and obviously the standard set by Kurt Warner a handful of years ago. And Palmer coming over in a trade on the Raiders, he brought, one thing we talked about a lot during the regular season was whether it was an interception or a touchdown, he had the same demeanor, and it rubbed off on his teammates. They saw a guy that didn't panic when things went wrong, and a lot of things went wrong early, and they watched him bounce back, and the team followed suit as they went 7-2 in their final 9 games. Dennis Johnson saying, you know what, it's preseason, I'm going to make the team, I'm going to run it out. He sure does. He gets drilled at the 13. Kenny Demmons looking to make the roster. Two big hits on special teams.
Well, that is the way right there to get the attention of the coaches. When you say we kick this ball off and let you run down the field like a crazed dog, bury your cage right into somebody's sternum.
Played in 2 regular season games last year. He's out there along with the second team defense, while Ryan Fitzpatrick and the ones for Houston still on the field. Trying to get some chemistry with a new quarterback. Fitzpatrick replacing Matt Shaw. Here's Grimes across the 15. Gain of about 4 on the play.
The Houston Texans have been a tackle zone, inside zone team. Arian Foster, of course, runs that play better than any other running back, maybe in the history of the game, including Terrell Davis. Tackle zone, 6 and 7 zone. The Denver Broncos made that famous. Head on a hat play side, build a wall backside.
Here's Grimes again. He's up past the 20, bouncing off defenders and close to a first down at the 23. Arian Foster missed 8 games last year with a back injury, had over 1,400 rushing yards 2 seasons ago. Texans started well last year, went 2-0, but then they lost every game. After that, as you saw, the confidence of Matt Schaub shaken with pick sixes in several weeks in a row. So Gary Kubiak was fired midseason. Bill O'Brien, former Patriots assistant and 2-year head coach at Penn State, comes in as the new head coach of the Texans. Got a new quarterback, Ryan Fitzpatrick, coming over from the Titans. He dumps it off here. Devere Posey near a first down at the 32-yard line, about 9 on the play, and Brian McCann out there in coverage.
Well, film is so important, and how you conduct yourself on film. It's not just what you do, it's how you do it. And I think McCann has got to come up with a lot more gusto than that if in fact he wants to make this team. You got one shot to make it. It's not just what you do, it's how you do it.
Cardinals, brilliant offense in that opening quarter. The first and second units both engineered touchdown drives, and it's 17-0 Arizona after 1. As we enter the second quarter with 15 minutes to play before the half, we remind you that Geico is saving people money on more than just car insurance. Visit geico.com today. Dave Pasch, Ron Wolfley, you just refilled his coffee. Is that number 7 or 8?
I lost count, David. Tell you the truth, but I'll tell you what. BA's counting every play here in that first quarter.
Texans first team offense still out there. Grimes tripped up in the backfield but kept his balance. Dayon Buchanan couldn't make the tackle, so it's a first down. Buchanan, rookie out of Washington State. The Cardinals had some guys in mind they were hoping would fall to him late first round. They didn't, so the Cardinals traded down and they got the fastest safety. Also happens to be also the biggest hitting safety.
Yeah, no, he really is. He gives them a little length in the back end, and he's just one of those guys that wants to attack the line of scrimmage over and over and over.
Grimes got out of a Frosty Rucker tackle and brought down for a loss at the 32-yard line, a setback of about 4 yards.
Well, here it is, the tackle zone right there once again, and a wonderful job by Frosty Rucker getting penetration against that tackle zone. And you can see the gang tackling behind him, but the penetration, that is what is so key. And that's what Todd Bowles wants out of his defensive linemen. The reason why the Cardinals were the #1 rush defense in the NFL last year is because of their defensive line.
Remember, this is the second team defense against the first team offense. 2nd and 14. Big hole for Grimes this time. Penalty marker comes in late. Gain of 8 on the play before Buchanan made the stop. As you watch Deone Buchanan so far in camp, obviously the big hits stand out to everybody. What else do you see, Wolf?
I see a guy that has
Illegal use of the
playmaking
hands.
ability.
Defense, number 98. It's a 5-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
Ed Hockley making his announcement right there and doing it with style, of course. To me, Deone Buchanan, not only a guy that is a great athlete, a transformer. Looks like that robot on Fox, right? Cletus. But here's a guy that also has this playmaking ability. We've seen it, some of the interceptions he's made.
Grimes nosedives to the 48-yard line. For the Cardinals, with Tyrann Mathieu recovering from an ACL. They're not sure if he'll be back in time for the start of the regular season. And then having some other departures at that position, they're hoping Buchanan can step in and start, but it won't be easy because Tony Jefferson has played very well so far in camp.
One of the things I love about Deone Buchanan is I asked him when they put him in the box in a 4-2 nickel, a big nickel, they put him in the box. I said, do you like being in there? He said, I don't care. I just want to play.
Fitzpatrick on 2nd and 7. Incomplete, trying to hit Posey. Now the Cardinals lost Jeremiah Bell, who you nicknamed Yokomiah Bell because he was so big. Buchanan is not far behind. And we thought, you and I met him in the lunchroom, and we actually thought he was a linebacker. As you see, Tyrann Mathieu's hoping to practice here soon and get back. He played so well for the Cardinals last year. Cardinals can be pretty good up the middle, I think, this year.
No, absolutely. And again, a little bit of athleticism and a little bit of length in that back end, and that's what Steve Keim wanted, and Deone Buchanan brings to the table.
Fitzpatrick throws complete. Hopkins appears to be short, and there's a penalty flag down. Justin Bethel on the coverage.
Now you can see it. Todd Bowles dialed it up right there. Brought 6, played man free. Safety in the middle of the field, man across the board. Rush 6.
I got a feeling this is going to be another one of these illegal hands to the face penalties, which would, be 4 already?
Illegal hands to the face, defense, number 27. It's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot, and it's an automatic first down.
We get it. This is a point of emphasis. It's the preseason. I am hopeful that once the regular season begins, we won't see, because now it's just if you initiate contact to the cage. It's not if you push. It's if you initiate contact, the officials see it, they're going to throw the flag. Same goes for illegal contact. You pull on the jersey, they're going to call it after 5 yards.
Yes, the officials told me they pull on the jersey, they're going to look at the cue, and if the cue still has the ball, they're going to throw it.
Here's Grimes off the edge. He's to the 42-yard line. At Kareem Martin and Lorenzo Alexander on the stop. Good to see Lorenzo back out there after missing most of last year. He had 3 key linebackers go down in that New Orleans game with season-ending injuries, and Alexander was one of them.
Lorenzo Alexander, just a guy that does everything well. And in transition, he is a special teams Iron Maven.
I think it's Iron Maiden, actually. The Cardinals stuff Grimes at the 42-yard line, so a gain of 1.
Actually, I went ahead, David, and I combined Maven with Iron Maven. See, I was being a little, took some liberties, granted.
Alex Okafor in there on the stop. Another guy that was injured in that Saints game, bicep injury, out for the season. And with John Abraham still not in camp, they need Okafor to make plays. He was there on that second down stop, so it's 3rd and 5. Fitzpatrick in the pocket, and it's incomplete. Yet Devins out there in coverage. Alfred Blue, rookie out of LSU, the intended receiver. It's 4th down.
Once again, they play man-free, and they only rush 4 this time. Good job by Demons actually on that coverage. And that's really where Kenny Demons struggles. He's got to be better in space. And if he shows Todd Bowles that he can do that, believe me, he's got a shot to make this team.
And Golden signaling for the fair catch, fields it inside the 5 at the 4-yard line. So the Cardinals backed up, but they're leading 17-0 early in the second quarter. Welcome back to our Ford broadcast booth, brought to you by your Arizona Ford dealers. Dave Pasch, Ron Wolfer, your regular season team on the radio, and Wolf is eating up the opportunity to be on TV here for the next month.
You're being facetious.
2 words, Wolf. More powder.
Okay, good. I'll use your makeup bag.
First down for the Cardinals on their 5. Rookie Troy Nicholas is in at tight end. 2nd-round draft choice out of Notre Dame. Stephon Taylor gets hammered at the line of scrimmage. Jeff Tarpinian. Jonathan Cooper was getting pushed back there. No gain on the play.
Like that right there, right? Robert Hughes in the game. Troy Nicholas. Darren Fells. Little pair personnel. 2 backs. 2 tight ends. Troy Nicholas. There's a guy that I know the Cardinals want to watch. Eager to see film on him, especially at the point of attack, coming off the ball.
He's had a broken hand, been tough for him to catch the ball in practice. Stanton to the air. Golden on the catch out to the 10. That gives the Cardinals some breathing room. A.J. Boye on the stop. 3rd down and 5 coming up.
Quick little 3-step drop out of Drew Stanton. Looking at the soft corner, seeing that the corner was playing off a little bit on Britton Golden, and Golden just took the slant now. Put him in a 3rd and manageable situation.
Carson Palmer, 5 of 5, 84 yards and a touchdown. Drew Stanton has been sharp, only a couple of incompletions for him. 3rd down and 5. And Stanton going to fire to Taylor, trying to get the first down. Penalty flag down, probably a horse collar. Actually, Taylor did not go down to the ground when he was horse collared by Shiloh Kao. He ended up picking up a couple additional yards out near the 20, and they should tack on more here.
This is one of the reasons why that 3rd and manageable is so
Personal
important.
foul, horse collar tackle by the defense, number 31. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
I mean, now all of a sudden, David, you're in 3rd and 5, right? That really changes what a play caller is going to call. Now the quarterback can just dump it out in the flat to a guy like Stephon Taylor. Suddenly you're moving the chains. It's an easy throw.
Taylor caught 8 passes last year. He was a 5th-round pick, drafted ahead of Andre Ellington. Had Rashard Mendenhall as the number 1 back a year ago. Taylor and Ellington both be counted on, obviously, this year. Here's Taylor again. Maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. KO on the stop. 2nd-team offensive line out there for the Cardinals. Again, with the exception of Jonathan Cooper. They want reps for him after missing all of last year.
Little rundown blitz brought by the Houston Texans. Man, this is going to be great work. It really is. Coaches love the first preseason game, because now they're actually going to have film of live go, and they're going to have film they can actually use to teach.
They come after Stanton, and he delivers a strike to Britton Golden, wrapped up at the 42-yard line by Josh Victorian. Gain of 7, so manageable 3rd down here for Stanton.
Protection, so important. We talked about it at the top of the broadcast. We'll talk about it all the way through preseason, David. We'll talk about it into the regular season. The Cardinals have got to be a nails protection team, and that means physically you got to be able to hold up, and mentally the receivers have got to be on the same page with a quarterback.
Stanton on 3rd down. Tried to hit John Brown, and the pass was incomplete. So 4th down, and here comes the punt team.
Seemed like that was good protection right there for Drew Stanton once again, and let that ball go maybe a little early. Either that or maybe John Brown got a little deep on that out route.
Dave Zassadil's been good as any punter the last couple of years on getting kicks inside the 20. Mike Thomas. And this will die at the 3. What a kick by Zassadil. And the Texans backed up inside their 5.
That is zen for any punter to be able to drop the ball inside the 5-yard line. Zasty with a little zen.
17-0 Cardinals on top. Cox delivers over 800 games pro and college with the biggest games and the biggest conferences. Visit cox.com/football for more information. Preseason game number 1. Cardinals will be in Minnesota next weekend. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Gilbert native, along with a lot of Texans starters still out there on offense as they're backed up inside their 5. And here's a good run play across the 10 is Blue. Alfred Blue out near the 20. 6th round draft choice out of LSU. Gain of about 14 there.
Well, that is what the Houston Texans really excel at. Running the football in their zone scheme. He bounces it outside this time. Deone Buchanan coming up, doing a good job making the tackle in the open field. That's another thing I want to see out of Deone. Can you do it in space?
Here's Blue again, and Frosty Rucker meets him and drops him. Minimal gain on the play.
Well, you'd love to see that. Your defensive linemen out there making plays, right, in rundown situations. Not only holding their gap, but getting off the block and making a tackle. That is something Frosty Rucker has done for a long time.
9th year in the league, age 30, out of USC. Bruce Gaston, keep an eye on him. He's at nose right now. Undrafted rookie out of Purdue. He's really shined in camp. Could make the team. He gets some good push here. Fitzpatrick finds Keyshawn Martin. Excellent. Open field tackle by Justin Bethel. Otherwise, that's a big play. At least a first down. But Bethel, an underrated corner. We know about him on special teams. Went to the Pro Bowl last year. But a very good cornerback.
Yeah, really playing off, too. Looked like the Cardinals were playing quarter coverage. 4 deep, 3 underneath. Really playing off and yet coming up and making a strong open field tackle, and that's not surprising. That's what he does in transition on special teams. That's why he's a Pro Bowl special teams player.
So 3rd down. Penalty marker down. A dead ball foul here. Some movement by Houston.
False start offense, number 87. 5-yard penalty is 3rd down.
They got to wonder what Bill O'Brien's thinking right now, you know. Watching the Cardinals go out offensively. It is preseason game number 1. But you sure would like to see your first team go out there, be able to execute, whether it's offense or defense, produce.
So 3rd down and 8 after the 5-yard penalty. Here's a wide receiver screen to Mike Thomas, who spent a little time with the Cardinals in camp last year. Nice play by McCann. Gets him to the ground. It's 4th down.
David, that's exactly what I was talking about in regard to McCann, right? He came up, Brian McCann, on a play earlier in the first quarter. Didn't come up with the gusto that you need to come up with. That time he brought it.
And Shane Leckler, who was punting back even when you played.
Let's not get crazy.
He was in Oakland forever. He's only 37, 15th year in the league.
Only 37.
One of the best, though, for a long time in the NFL. Britton Golden is the deep man. And Leckler drills this one. And Golden able to spin away from the defender, but a penalty flag down. Bethel's going to get flagged here. Golden brought down at the 42. 52-yard kick. And another penalty marker thrown right at a Cardinal.
And there's another classic example of a play that's going to come back here, that at the same time the coaching staff's going to look at the film on that and they're going to go, my goodness, Britton Golden showed us a little something right there on that punt return.
Boy, it didn't
That's what
look,
you got to do. You got to flash, Dave.
didn't look, though, Wolf, like Bethel did a whole lot. Didn't look like he even got his hands on the defender, the gunner that time. Here's
there
Ed.
were 2 fouls by the receiving team on the play. Holding, number 59. That penalty is declined. There was also an illegal block in the back, number 28. That foul is accepted and enforced from the flag. First down.
You're just jealous of Hockley. I know you're looking to talk every time he's up there. Let's see here if it was indeed a penalty on Bethel. He had a hold of the jersey. Good call. Nice spin too by Golden. Cardinals 17, Texans nothing. Visit the Room Store, Arizona's #1 volume furniture store, for a chance at winning the ultimate fan cave or 2 best seats in the nest Cardinals game tickets.
Well, you're going to love the fan cave. Lounging around on the couch, big television. Give me that thing.
First down for the Cardinals at their 15-yard line. Drew Stanton, the quarterback. And former basketball player Darren Fells did not play college football. 28-year-old rookie. He's actually on the practice squad with the Cardinals some last year. Gets 14 yards.
He's got a shot at making this team right there, too. That's a great throw by Drew Stanton. You see Michael Bidwell fired up about it. Steve Keim, general manager, got a little shine on that dome, doesn't he?
We'll talk with Steve in the third quarter. You saw Michael speak with Jody during the pregame. The Brain Trust, as the Cardinals coming off a 10-win season, open for bigger things in 2014. Maybe the Super Bowl, which is here, as Stanton throws it away somehow. Did not get sacked. He had several Texans, including Mike Muhammad, wrapped around him. You think about what Michael and Steve, along with Bruce Arians, been able to accomplish here in just a short time.
David, they've actually brought some reinforcement. They've got the nuns.
That's the personnel scouting department there.
My goodness. Boy, the nuns, too. You could just see they're loving this. Nothing like watching a nun enjoy the blood sport.
Here's Walt Powell, 6th-round draft choice. Rookie out of Murray State takes it inside the 30-yard line. It's going to be hard for him to make the team because there's so many good receivers. But he has really played well in camp. 45-yard reception.
Well, another great throw by Drew Stanton and a great read as well. But Walt Powell, I believe, is going to force the Arizona Cardinals to make a very, very tough decision. And I think there's a real possibility they keep 6 wide receivers because of 83.
Cardinals on the cusp of the red zone again from the Houston 26-yard line. Here's Stephon Taylor breaking it to the outside. And Taylor, we're going to drag a defender, pick up yardage. Elric Mack had the foot of Taylor, but that wasn't enough to get him down. Gain of about 4.
Running the inside zone, and again, Stephon Taylor not liking what he's seeing on the play side, bounces that to the outside. As I said earlier, really don't think that is the strength of Stephon Taylor. The strength of Stephon Taylor is in between the tackles, but he does a nice job here picking up the yardage that he did by breaking this tackle on the edge. And that's the thing. It's a tough tackle to bring Taylor down.
Quick throw to John Brown out in space, and Brown turning on the Jets. Gets the first down inside the 15, near the 12. All right, John Brown, we've seen him on deep passes. We've seen the hands, we've seen the speed. Now we see a little quickness out there in space with the stutter step.
Oh, he can accelerate. You're talking about a guy that not only runs a 4.34, the second fastest time, David, at the combine, but you're talking about a guy that has jets in the pants, that acceleration that you need in a short area.
See the numbers for Stanton as we're going to hit the 2-minute warning. Stanton needs the reps because the last time he played was the preseason a year ago.
That's the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes.
Cardinals on top 17-0, looking for more at the 2-minute warning in the first half. The Arizona Ford dealers run one back, drive one home sweepstakes will be returning for the 2014 Cardinals regular season. You could win a 2014 Ford F-150. Visit your local FordDealers.com and stay tuned for information and registration details. Well, we showed the Nuns and got a big play. Gain of 45 yards. Took us inside the 15-yard line. Bruce Arians' offense clicking here today. Both first and second teams have been effective. They got a first down at the 12 with 2 minutes to go. 2 timeouts left. Cardinals looking to add to their lead. Jonathan Dwyer, 5th-year pro out of Georgia Tech, first with the Cardinals. He's in at running back, big back, about 240 pounds. And here's Dwyer. And he rolls over a defender close to the first down. Penalty marker down, but Dwyer pummeled Elbert Mack, who's had a rough first half.
Boy, that is a great run by Jonathan Dwyer right there.
Holding offense number 87. 10 yards from the previous spot. Repeat first down.
And once again, even though you're going to bring that one back, watch him bounce this to the outside, David. Jonathan Dwyer has got the quicks. He runs the ball extremely well in between the tackles, but watch him go. Bulls on parade right there. Did not use the crown of his helmet too, just lowered the pad and lowered the boom. Man, that is embarrassing. You get ran over like that.
You could see the holding, though, in your shot there as Nicholas had a hold of the jersey.
Feel like a possum.
First and 20. Stanton with time. And open man. It's juggled. Incomplete. Fells couldn't hang on. Those are the kind of plays you have to make if you're going to make the team. Jake Ballard announced his retirement this week. And Wolf, you and I were at practice that day, and a lot of people were talking about Fells before the practice as a guy to possibly make the team. I don't know if he got nervous that day or what. He had 3 or 4 drops, and he let one slip away here.
Yes, that ball appeared to be tipped, David, as well, right at the last by Ankra. Tipped that ball, and I think that's why he dropped it. Little underthrown.
3rd down and 20. Like clock winding down. Trying to set up a screen. And boy, it was close to pass interference there. And here comes a flag. Eddie Pleasant hits Stephon Taylor, who is the intended receiver. Dwyer, rather, the intended receiver on the screen. I don't think the ball had hit the ground yet. I think it was still in the air when there was contact made by Pleasant.
Pass interference, offense number 10.
They're going to get Britt Golden.
Previous spot. Repeat second down.
Maybe tried to set a pick or something, and the official saw it.
That's an area the Arizona Cardinals have really got to improve their screen game. And when I say that, I'm not talking the wide receiver screen out on the edge. I think that's going to be improved dramatically because I think they're going to try to get the ball to John Brown out there with a couple of big receivers like Michael Floyd, Larry Fitzgerald in front of him. Talking about the running back screen.
Here's Stanton on 2nd and 30. And the pass behind John Brown, incomplete. Chris Clemens, unrestricted free agent from the Dolphins, in coverage. So it's 3rd down and 30.
Once again, though, what is the one thing you like to see? If you're Bruce Arians, you love to see John Brown open. He was open again. He ran the correct route, obviously. He was open. The ball was thrown behind him, but John Brown has been open all first half.
Just outside 90 seconds left here in the half. Stanton stepping up. This time completes it to Brown. They'll be short of the first down, but got a big chunk of it back. It'll be a much shorter field goal attempt for Catanzaro.
That's just a great read right there from Drew Stanton. Great protection, 4-man rush, strong pocket, and there he goes. Smokey Joe. That's what BA calls him. Smokey.
We all wanted to see how he would do in his first game action after wowing everybody in practice, and John Brown has not disappointed anybody.
I might sit him down right now, David.
Catanzaro, perfect. On the short field goal. The Cardinals extend their lead to 20-0 over Houston late in the first half. Chandler Catanzaro kicking off after he made a 28-yard field goal. And Joe Adams will take it out of the end zone for Houston, and he will not make it to the 20. Walt Powell down there after making a big catch. It's a special teams tackle. We're back in our Ford broadcast booth, brought to you by your Arizona Ford dealers, Dave Pash, Ron Wolfley. You can tweet Wolf at AZ Cardinals, and a lot of people, you can imagine, are doing that. And somebody is tweeting you, Wolf, asking about Antonio Cromartie and his impact at Jack Gilhouse.
Well, the great thing, Jack, about it is the fact that when you've got Antonio Cromartie and Patrick Peterson, you can walk them up over the number 1 and number 2 receiver for the offense, and you can have a reasonable expectation that you're going to be able to shut them down. And anytime that happens for a defensive coordinator like Todd Bowles, what you're doing is limiting the options, David, for the offense. And yet at the same time, you're simultaneously simplifying your defense. When you simplify your defense and limit the options of the offense, you make the offense more predictable, David. And when an offense becomes more predictable, they start turning the ball over. And if you don't believe it, just ask the Seattle Seahawks.
Great question there by Jack. Cromartie coming off a Pro Bowl season, although didn't play great, was injured as he played throughout the year with the Jets. Fitzpatrick's pass complete to Thomas to the 40. We're at 1 minute remaining, and the Texans will call it timeout. They do have 3 left. You know, Cromartie, guy that
that's their first. It's a 30-second timeout.
Did his 9th year in the NFL out of Florida State. Got 28 career interceptions. Was a playmaker with the Chargers. The Jets, though, decided not to bring him back as he battled through that hip injury. Managed to start every game, as you look at Bill O'Brien. But Cromartie, guy the Cardinals are counting on.
Boy, he looks good in the uni, doesn't he, David? Oh, walk up on the crow. You know this is the NFL. That is one big corner.
Well, think about it. You get him and Peterson. I mean, one of the bigger cornerback tandems in the National Football League. How many corners are 6'1", 220? Patrick Peterson.
That's a projectile.
You got Gerard Powers, who kind of offsets those guys as the nickel. Here's first down. Fitzpatrick leveled, and he completed it to Thomas in Cardinal territory at the 48-yard line with the Marcus Bernard with the big hit. Well, he played well when he got reps last year during the regular season, had a couple sacks. Fitzpatrick again gets out of trouble. He's inside the 40, still going. And now slides inside the 25. 30 seconds left in the half.
The Texans going to call a timeout here, obviously. And Ryan Fitzpatrick doing a nice job, realizing it's man coverage. A lot of deep routes down the field. So he pockets it and runs.
Talked about the corners. When you have a defensive backfield with some of the players that we've already named, and you don't have an elite pass rusher, at least not right now with John Abraham not here.
Yes.
And you're thinking about manufacturing pass rush. How much more pressure does that put on your corners?
It definitely does. There's no doubt about it. Look, there's 3 ways you can get pressure on a quarterback. You can just be better than the 5 offensive linemen trying to block you. You can have a front 4, like I think the Rams might have, where they're just better than the 5 trying to block them. And then you can scheme your way into sacks, too. That's something we do a lot of with Todd Bowles. And then, of course, you can have coverage sacks.
Here comes pressure off the edge. Fitzpatrick, and a flag down. He's trying to hit blue. Just being covered by Okafor. I think Okafor got busted, had a hand on the receiver, either prior to the pass or while the ball was in the air.
But back to your point, look, I don't.
There was no foul for illegal contact on the play. The quarterback is not in the pocket. Second down.
Quarterback was rolling out, and when that happens, you can put your hands on the receiver before the ball is thrown.
I don't care who you are. Patrick Peterson, Antonio Cromartie, Darrelle Revis, Joe Hayden, Richard Sherman. You give a wide receiver in the National Football League enough time, he's going to get open at some point in time. I don't care how good you are.
25 seconds left, 2 timeouts remaining for Houston. Fitzpatrick throws complete. Good tackle by Curtis Taylor as Thomas makes the catch. Texans will call it timeout with 17 seconds left in the half.
Houston. That's their third and final timeout. 30 seconds.
That's well done right there by Curtis Taylor. That's what you want to do. Cardinals came with a blitz to the left of Ryan Fitzpatrick to force him, guessing what the protection was going to be, to force him to throw that hot throw. And then you want your safety to come up and make the tackle in front of the sticks. That's all you want to do. Right here you see him, the blitz coming from the outside. They throw it hot. There's the tackle. That is sound, fundamental football.
Doesn't really look like the Cardinals took 8 months off, does it? Not a lot of mistakes, not a lot of mental errors. We're going to have a timeout by the Cardinals defense here. Remember how crisp
Arizona, that's their second timeout.
Remember how crisp and detailed the Cardinals were at the end of the year? You saw a lot of the mental errors, turnovers went down, and here in this first preseason game, you hate to get carried away, but boy, what a great first half in every facet.
Yeah, you can't get carried away, David. The reason being is because it is preseason football. Preseason football is kind of like playing Metallica's Enter Sandman without the intro. Still a good song, but it's not a great song. You need the drums leading up to it, right? But it sure beats the alternative, doesn't it? I mean, what if the Cardinals came out here and looked bad, looked horrible?
Yeah.
We're down 21-0 at the point.
We'd be talking about that, that's for sure.
Indeed.
Third down and 7. Cardinals bringing everybody. Fitzpatrick level and throws a pick. What a catch by Marcus Bernard. Great interception.
Look at Marcus stabbing the ball out of the air with one hand. Boy, that is a great play, a classic fire zone blitz up the middle. You hit the quarterback, and now you get Bernard dropping off into coverage. Classic fire zone, and then to make that kind of catch. Wow, that is big time right there.
Anthony Walters, fourth-year pro, spent time with the Bears, got the hit, and then Bernard, who every time we watch him, one-on-one drills in practice, makes something happen. And here he saves the Texans, or the Cardinals rather, from giving up any points. They shutout in the first half. Carson Palmer, perfect on his only drive, 5 for 5. A touchdown pass to Fitz, and a touchdown pass by Stanton as well. A couple of cat-and-zero field goals, and the Cardinals 20-0 over Houston. Halfway through the opening preseason game. Stay tuned in the second half. You'll hear from Cardinals GM Steve Keim. Jody Jackson coming up halftime. 20-zip Cards. Looks like Ryan Lindley could see action when the Cardinals go on offense, but they'll start the second half on D. 20-0. Cardinals lead it at halftime. Jody Jackson standing by with Bruce Arians.
All right, Coach, points on 4 of the 5 drives, particularly the first team looking great. I want to ask you about John Brown, 5 catches, 87 yards, and drew a penalty. What were your thoughts on John?
Well, yeah, I thought he would have that type of game. He's been having that type of camp so far, and we've shutting him down now. That was a really good half for those young ones. The Brown brothers did a heck of a job.
How about on defense? Couple of interceptions. Obviously, it's a shutout at this point in time. What did you like? Who stood out?
I liked the whole way our defense was getting after it. I mean, we were gang tackling, we were getting to the ball, got our hands up, tipped some balls. It was good team defense.
Back to offense real quick. Carson and the receivers look to be clicking extremely well so far.
Yeah, you know, with Teddy and Michael getting those last-second injuries, I was really happy with the way John and Jerron got in there with Carson, and he clicked right away with them.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, guys, back up to you.
The return, holding by the receiving team, number 17. It's a 10-yard penalty enforced from the spot of the foul. Houston keeps the ball, first down.
So you saw the penalty on the good return by Joe Adams, which is negated. Usually head coaches, even after a successful first half preseason, they don't smile, but
Yeah.
Bruce Arians is pretty happy.
Once again, you know, you look at the way the offense conducted itself. They were able to run the ball effectively. Play action was awesome off of it. The 3-step game was working, whether it was 5-step, 3-step, 7-step play action, being able to throw the ball, a true three-dimensional offense in that first half.
Delay a game by the Texans. Boy, that's kind of an ominous beginning to the second half, where after the penalty is called, unless an official made a mistake with a play clock, you have a penalty on kickoff, and you can't get your guys lined up in time, as Coach O'Brien shows his disgust. Case Keenum, second-year quarterback, who started for the Texans when they played here during the regular season last year. Cardinals won that game. So 1st and 15. Keenum from his own end zone. And it's caught by Alfred Blue, able to shake a tackle and reach the 13-yard line for a gain of 8.
Well, something tells me right now that if you knew nothing about the game of football, you're going to think that Ed Hockley was reading the Gettysburg Address the rest of this half.
Here's 2nd and 7. Keenum's pass is pulled in for a first down at the 22-yard line. Should I force you to pronounce his name, or should I have mercy on you?
What, Hockley?
No, Easy Wachiku. Hockley.
His first name is Easy, too.
Well, it's really not. It's just initials. Easy. I can't even pronounce his first name. Flag down as Blue drops the ball at the 25-yard line. Now your guy Hockley will get more TV time.
Here we go. Again, this is what you're going to get in preseason too, especially in the second half of preseason games.
Hands to the face, offense, number 73. 10-yard penalty, big first down.
And that's been called at least 4 times in this game, and it's been averaging 4 or 5 per preseason game.
So that is a point of emphasis. Is that what you're saying, David?
That would qualify. See the numbers for Keenum. He left Houston as the NCAA all-time leading passer. Did you know that?
I did not.
Here's Blue, gang tackled at the 15-yard line, just a couple there, and first down and long. The Texans drafted Tom Savage in the 4th round out of Pittsburgh, although he did spend some time in Tucson at University of Arizona.
Best last name for a football player ever. Savage.
Texans looking to replace Matt Schaub, who's now in Oakland. Here's 2nd and long, another flag. Keenum's pass almost caught by Ryan Griffin, who would not hang on at the 35. How much you want to bet it's illegal hands to the face? No? Not on the defense anyway.
Illegal hands to the face, offense, number 79. The penalty is declined. Brings up 3rd down.
Well, if I told you, they're going to call it, at least in the preseason. If you even make contact,
oh my goodness,
they're going to call it.
You know, this is coming from a former player's perspective, but sometimes there's nothing that will suffice
Correction,
but the hands to the face on somebody. Sometimes the guy deserved hands to the face. That's all I'm going to say.
You would never have survived in 2014. Here's 3rd and long, another flag. This is not illegal hands to the face, I promise you.
I told you the Gettysburg Address.
False start offense, number 62. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
It's Alex Cupper, who's actually the starter at right guard, who's in there with the second unit
the
here.
Clock to 13:33. 13:33. Thank you.
Another announcement by Ed.
By the way, the center, the second team center, James Ferentz. Dad Kirk is the head coach at Iowa. Played there for 3 years.
Kirk Ferentz was the offensive line coach at Cleveland under Bill Belichick when I was in.
Bill O'Brien, of course, coached for Belichick in New England. Out to the 20 is Blue. Well short of the first down, so it's 4th down.
Holding offense number 73. The penalty is declined. Brings up 4th down.
How did you know this was going to happen?
I told you, because it's the second half of a preseason game, and we all know a lot of young guys. Going to see a lot of action here in the second half. They're rested after halftime. They're all juiced up. The adrenaline's flowing right now. Want to make the team. Guy cheap shotted you in the ribs, so you stick your hands in his face.
Chris Boswell to punt here. Britton Golden back to return from his 30-yard line. And he's brought down to the 33. Andre Howell made the special teams tackle after a 51-yard punt. We'll be joined by the general manager of the Arizona Cardinals, Steve Keim, when we come back with the Cardinals leading 20-0. A special guest joining us back in our Ford broadcast booth, brought to you by your Arizona Ford dealers, the outstanding general manager of the Arizona Cardinals, Steve Keim. Of course, Wolf and I are biased. We love Steve, one of our favorites in the organization. Steve, you've been here for a long time, second year as the GM, 10 wins last year, great start to the first half. Tell us what you saw.
Well, excited to see some of the young guys stand out, and we've talked quite a bit through training camp about John Brown, guys like Walt Powell, our 6th-round pick, Kareem Martin, Ed Stinson, some of the guys on the defensive line. So it's been fun. I think we're coming together as a team, and I'm excited that we got out to a fast start.
Logan Thomas is in the game at quarterback. He hands it off here to Dwyer, loses a couple of yards.
What have you seen from Logan Thomas so far in training camp?
Well, really kind of what we thought coming out with, big, strong arm, has all the physical traits. At times flashes tremendous ability, and at times looks like he's rusty and needs some mechanical work. And he's got big upside, and I hope he continues to work and grow as a player.
Was the 6th quarterback drafted in 2014, 4th-round selection. 2nd down and 12. We're going to have another run play. Dwyer at 240 pounds, out to about the 35. So he got about 4 that time, bring up 3rd down and long. And obviously the expectations so lofty, Steve, after 10 wins last year. Now, what were some of the things you wanted to accomplish in the offseason to meet those expectations?
Well, when we finished 10-6 and we didn't make the playoffs, we knew we needed to fix a few things. And we started with where can we improve? And it started with not only speed at receiver, upgrading our offensive line, and adding length and physicality to our defensive front. And I feel like we accomplished all 3 of those things in the offseason.
There's Walt Powell again. Had a big catch in the first half. Logan Thomas able to complete that for a first down in the Texan territory.
How about that throw by Logan Thomas? Watch this on the out route. Stand tall in the pocket and pull. He fired that ball out there on a rope. Steve, that's got to make you happy.
There's no doubt. I mean, he can throw a 90-mile fastball with the best of them. He has got a huge arm, and actually at the combine he ran 4.59, so he can actually run as well and escape the pocket.
Trouble with the exchange there. A loss of about a yard. Let's focus on the first-string quarterback, Carson Palmer. Second half of last year, with the exception of the Seattle game, played very well. Numbers much better the final 8 games. And how much of that do you think was getting used to Bruce Arians' system and receivers and O-line, everybody being on the same page?
Yeah, I think that's the most of it. Once we got into the offseason, we saw Carson continue to grow and get better. And ball placement, accuracy, touch, I think he's as good as they come when you can protect him. So once we upgraded the offensive line and added a few more pieces in free agency, when you added Ted Ginn and you have the improvement of Michael Floyd, I think he'll continue to flourish under Bruce Arians' system.
And you got Jared Valdir, who you brought over as a free agent from the Raiders. Not a lot of Cardinal fans knew much about him other than he's huge. Tell people about the type of left tackle that he is.
Well, he's not like some of the premier left tackles in terms of foot speed and athleticism, but he is a big hulking giant of a man. So his size, and he has enough athleticism, and he's just a mauler in the run game. So when you look at his wingspan and his size, and you have to run around a guy his stature, it makes it extremely difficult for defensive linemen.
Logan Thomas' pass is pulled in for a first down to bring goal. How about the fact that Steve actually gets out before the snap? He's getting good at this.
He's gotten good at it, believe me. Right, he's got the dome shined up right now, ready to do a little color. Boy, that again, Logan Thomas looking at the accuracy, and that is the question. That's the question when it comes to Logan Thomas. Can he mechanically develop and continue to develop to a point where he is accurate? And right now, I would say he's had a couple of good practices the last week. He's come out here tonight and looked really good.
Here's Dwyer trying to find a hole, and he gets maybe a yard. You look at the depth, Steve, on your team. What's your philosophy on building depth and drafting guys late and signing guys like Jonathan Dwyer?
Well, we always talk about addressing need in free agency and drafting the best players available in the draft. And it goes back to the philosophy that you can never have enough good players at one position. And when you think you just have a position stockpiled enough, there's always injuries, suspensions. So your needs in April and May are never the same as they are in September.
Again, look at that, perfect right before May. It was a radio. I'd be able to talk for 10 seconds. That never happens during the regular season. Thomas in trouble and sacked at the 39-yard line by Jarrell Poe. So 3rd down and long coming up.
And another guy that I really like, a guy we brought in as a free agent, is Jonathan Dwyer. Well, yeah. He lowered the pads a couple of times and lowered the boom here tonight.
Yeah, and that's what he is. He's a downhill banger between the tackles. He's got really quick feet for a big guy, and has the understanding of leverage and finishing runs between the tackles.
Here's 3rd down and 15 from the Houston 39. Pressure coming. Thomas with time, flag down. Thomas, a rope thrown over the head of Powell, incomplete. See what the penalty flag is. What are your expectations for Michael Floyd after a 1,000-yard season a year ago?
You know, it's hard to say that Michael Floyd is our most improved player when you look at guys like Justin Bethel and particularly Jaron Brown, who has really stepped up and has started to emerge. Wow. But Michael Floyd continues to get better every day. I thought there was an element of stiffness, particularly in his upper body, last year running routes. I thought he looked hesitant at times. And this year, with his understanding of our offense, I feel like he's improved his flexibility and his confidence level, and he has looked fantastic so far through training camp.
Steve, how much does the NFC West, the division that we play in, how much does that impact the type of player you draft?
Well, I think just to piggyback off of the first question you guys asked, I talked about being 10-6, and it wasn't good enough. And it wasn't good enough because of the Seahawks and because of the 49ers. So we had to address where our holes were. And again, adding speed at the receiver position. Defensively, when I talk about length, you're going against guys like Russell Wilson and Kaepernick, who can get out of the pocket and do things on the perimeter. So you know that you have to get some size, length to disrupt throwing lanes, and guys who can run and chase down in space.
Eddie Pleasant with an unpleasant hit on Logan Thomas, sacked. So it's 4th down, and Dave Sassito will have to punt.
Well, it looked like the Houston Texans right there didn't see it from snap to whistle. It looked like that was cover 0. When I look back down onto the field, come after the quarterback with everybody, play man behind it.
Joe Adams back to return the punt, muffed it, able to scoop, and they get pinballed out to the 15-yard line. 41-yard punt. Texans will be backed up inside their 20. Steve Keim will stay with us. Cardinals lead at 20-0 over Houston. 20-0, Cardinals on top. Now let's find out more about Antonio Cromartie through our Zoom lens, presented by Hyundai, proud partner of the Arizona Cardinals. 3 Pro Bowls, including last year as a member of the Jets, fought through a hip injury to start every game. 28 career interceptions for the former first-round pick. Signed a 1-year deal with the Cardinals and is expected to start opposite Patrick Peterson. Cromartie had an interception in the first half. Texans had the ball in their 15. And here's Alfred Blue trying to get the edge, and he's tripped up. Another penalty flag down. And while Ed Hockley tells us about what happened there with the penalty marker, Steve, tell us about Antonio Cromartie and his initiative.
Well, as much pressure as Todd Bowles and his staff likes to bring defensively, you have to be able to play man behind him, particularly press man. So when you have the ability to add a corner who's over 6'2", your other starting corner is almost 6'1". To have 2 big corners on the perimeter that can press, reroute, disrupt routes, it's very important. I think it'll be beneficial this year, and it'll help Todd Bowles out significantly.
Steve, how concerned are you about the inside linebacker position counts? Dansby, of course, left via free agency. Darrell Washington via suspension. How do you feel about the inside linebackers, and how concerned are you?
Well, through 2 weeks of training camp and half of one preseason game, a lot of my fears have started to become eliminated. Kevin Minner has been an outstanding player in terms of stepping up and answering the call. Even if he doesn't make the play, he's been extremely disruptive with his downhill physical style. And Larry Foote is the consummate pro. He understands the game and uses his intelligence to succeed.
Here's Alfred Blue again on 2nd down and 6. Wrapped up at the 21, gain of a couple. The biggest news during training camp was the extension of Patrick Peterson. Talk about the process there and the thinking in getting that deal done now, Steve.
Well, it's been a long process. Under the new CBA rules, the 2011 first-round draft picks could not start negotiating contracts until after the 3rd year. So the minute the season was over, we approached Patrick and his representatives aggressively and wanted to make sure we got a deal done. Both sides had to come to a happy agreement, and we're just fortunate to be able to get a player with Patrick Peterson's stature back under contract for an additional 5 years on top of the 2, so through 2020, for a guy who's 24 years old and has played 48 consecutive starts.
Steve, are you not worried about setting a precedent with a guy that you had, 2 more years control, but you decided to go ahead and re-up him now?
Well, that's whenever, and I won't get into the details, but that's when you talk about new money and you talk about having the ability to add that many additional years. And that's the way the process is supposed to work. You're supposed to be able to draft players, evaluate them. Once you determine they're part of your core talent, you address it, you try to get them back under contract, and not only reward the player for having success on the field, but showing commitment to our team.
Reggie Dunn on the punt return, couple of flags down. And again, we'll get the word here from Ed Hockley, who's getting almost as much airtime as Wolf. Steve, thanks so much for spending some time with us. Appreciate it. Feel free to stop by anytime, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve.
Steve Keim, Arizona Cardinals general manager, as the officials clean up the mess here after.
During the return, holding by the receiving team number 29. The 10-yard penalty is enforced from the spot of the foul. Arizona keeps the ball after enforcement. First down.
And Logan Thomas will get another series when we come back. The Cardinals on top 20-0 over the Texans. 20-0, the Cardinals lead the Texans with 5:24 to play in the 3rd quarter. You can ask Wolf a question, #tweetwolf, and this is what that kid Nick tweeted. Do you think Coach Arians sees a future Ben Roethlisberger in Logan Thomas?
No, my goodness, I don't think so. Look, Big Ben Roethlisberger has won how many Super Bowls? I believe it's 2, has he not? I mean, here's a guy that has played at a very, very high level in the National Football League, and I think right now it's way, way too early to start drawing that type of comparison to Logan Thomas and Ben Roethlisberger. And I think BA would tell you that.
Arians coached Big Ben in Pittsburgh during those Super Bowls. You can tweet at AZ Cardinals. You can follow Wolf at Wolf987, right? Or
yes.
at Dave Pash, although Wolf probably won't tweet you back.
I can tell you right now, though, Logan Thomas is the biggest piece of raw material a human being has ever had playing the quarterback position. He's got everything you could possibly want to be successful in the NFL, David. He's big. Look at him in a uniform. He is the all-uniform
Move,
team.
causing the offensive player to move. 5-yard penalty, second down.
His completion percentage was not good at Virginia Tech. His best year was probably his sophomore year. Did not have a lot of talent around him his junior and senior seasons. And look, the Cardinals did not draft Logan Thomas to play this year.
Yes.
Or next year, perhaps. This is the quintessential project.
With a capital P. But he's got everything you want. The smarts, 31 on the Wonderlic.
Fires to Golden. Grabbed at the 36, right at the first down marker.
The ball that he throws is so heavy. It's just an absolute rocket coming out of the pocket. You can see it right there. I mean, you better not have a finger out of place, or it will be out of place in a hurry.
You would think Thomas will make the roster because he's a 4th-round pick, regardless of how things go here tonight and the rest of the preseason. And what does the future hold then for Ryan Lindley? As Thomas is going to throw deep and going down the sideline, overshot Walt Powell. And Drew Stanton, you would expect to be the number 2. Ryan Lindley was not drafted under this coaching regime. But it's interesting, Stanton and Lindley both have 4 career starts, even though Stanton's been in the league for 8 years.
Yeah.
So Logan Thomas, you would assume he's got a job. The question is, at what point will he be ready? if at all? And how
Yes.
much can we really gauge from the preseason when he's out here with second team linemen against second team defender?
Oh, so far, so good. I like what I see out of Logan Thomas. That last ball that he threw, that was a good throw. That was an excellent throw over the outside shoulder. And what I liked is he read the coverage. He made the correct read.
Another penalty flag down as Golden made the catch. That pass was a little bit low.
And that's what coaches are looking at, David. They're looking at their quarterback. Hey, are you looking at the right receiver? Are you reading the coverage? Do you know the play? Are you seeing coverage? There's a lot of quarterbacks that can tell you, well, that was cover 2, or well, that was man free. But do they really see it?
Offense number 83. A 10-yard penalty is enforced at the dead ball spot. Repeat, second down.
In other words, do they see the coverage and know where to throw the ball against it? Not just regurgitating, oh, it was cover 2.
Another penalty. That was a hold on Powell. So second down and 16. Nearing 3 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Cardinals leading 20-0. Chandler Catanzaro getting the kicking duties today. Jay Feely will get it in Minneapolis next weekend. He had a couple of field goals. Carson Palmer and Drew Stanton with touchdown passes. Here's Thomas, and that pass on the money to Ozier for a first down. Another flag. Gain of 20.
Oh, that is a great throw on the post, cover 3. 3 deep, 4 underneath,
Illegal
rush
contact
4.
defense, number
Nice
33.
little pocket, and look at the
Number 35,
hose.
that penalty is declined. Play results in a first down.
That was illegal contact, so that penalty's declined. That was a great throw.
That was a great read and a great throw. And then you can see the arm talent, can't you? That ball came out of there like the 5th Pete of a 4-P pod.
First down in Texan territory. Jalen Parmalee is trying to make the roster. Still in at running back, 28-year-old. Here's a slant to Golden. Made a catch. There's some that wondered, including Bill Polian, a very well-respected former general manager in the NFL, wondered about Logan Thomas and his prospects at the next level. But when the Cardinals drafted him, Polian said, if there's anybody that can make Thomas into an NFL quarterback, it's Bruce Arians and Tom Moore.
And Tom Moore, the quarterback whisperer, whispering in the ear of Logan Thomas. Grow strong, grasshopper.
Only one incompletion so far for Thomas. Here's Parmalee. He barrels forward for a first down. And Parmalee's 4th NFL season. Parmalee thought his career was over. He actually moved to the Valley last year and then wrote a letter to Bruce Arians saying that he was available if they had a spot for him on the camp roster.
Well, you look at Tom Moore right there. You want to talk about a legend as an assistant coach in the National Football League. Peyton Manning says the first assistant coach to go in, it's got to be Tom Moore.
Yeah, Parmalee again bangs forward to the 33-yard line. And you think just another sounding board for Bruce Arians too. When he goes into the meetings to talk with Tom Moore, who's in his 50th football season, 36th in the NFL.
Boy, that guy, I mean, he has seen a lot of football. Think about this, Chuck Noll. He was on that staff when the Steelers were winning Super Bowls under Chuck Noll. 14 years the offensive coordinator for the Colts with Peyton Manning.
Don't forget too, he was the offensive coordinator for the Lions when they were a playoff team when Scott Mitchell was a quarterback. Barry Sanders, Herman Moore. Remember they had that great receiving core with Herman Moore and Brett Parham and Tom Moore's offense.
I'm just remembering a conversation that I had with Tom Moore when he first showed up here, and I said, Tom, I've wanted to ask you this forever. How in the world did you line up in the same personnel group with the guys virtually in the same formation? Reggie Wayne always to the left, Marvin Harrison always to the right, Dallas Clark to the left in the slot, Marcus Pollard as your stud tight end on the right, 2x2 with Edgerrin James behind Peyton Manning. How did you run the same personnel group and the same offense and be so successful for 14 years?
What did he say?
He looked at me, David, and he said, Wolf, you know where Sky Harbor Airport is, don't you? I said, yeah, I do, Coach. And he said, you
That's
know what?
the end of the third
I
quarter.
think I know who's going to get there quicker. It was brilliance. Mushroom cloud brilliance. Kind of like Logan Thomas and his third quarter.
Cardinals on top 20-0 as we start the fourth. This is an exclusive presentation of the National Football League and the Arizona Cardinals Football Club. Any reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the images and descriptions of this broadcast without the express written consent of the Arizona Cardinals is prohibited. Logan Thomas leaving the Cardinals on a 10-play, 49-yard drive that's taken over 5 minutes. He's got them at the Houston 25-yard line. And a play fake here. Thomas throws complete to the 10-yard line for a first down. Andre Hardy, one of two former college basketball players, trying to make the roster with a catch.
Oh, grows strong, Logan Thomas. Nice little play action out of 12 personnel. Little counter, right? Set up, somebody in your face, and you throw a strike. Boy, that is big time. That's what you like to see. A guy that will stand in there and get greased.
Yeah, Julius Wormsley with the big hit. Thomas unfazed. Run play. Parmalee stumbles to the 6-yard line. Tripped up by Albert Mack. Gain of about 4 on the play.
Just a bunch of baby steps here. That's what you're looking at in regard to Logan Thomas. He really needs to learn how to be a quarterback in the NFL. Be a quarterback. It's not just about having the attributes, not just about having the arm talent, the smarts. You got to know how to lead by example and be the cue, be the guy.
Here's Parmalee, and hit in the backfield, but able to slip away from David Hunter, defensive lineman, and reach the 5-yard line. So third down coming up. And Logan Thomas was a guy that a couple of years ago people were saying had what it took to be a first-round pick. But then when the team didn't play as well, his warts were seen by everybody also, as he couldn't elevate Virginia Tech. And
Timeout, Arizona.
his numbers
That's their
suffered,
first.
as did his draft stock. But he's looked good here in his first preseason game. Going to try to get the Cardinals in the end zone when we come back with a third down and goal at the 5.
The coach is in the valley with the best steaks and seafood. It's Ditka's Restaurant, now in Arizona and only at V Cuiva on 51st Avenue, 4 miles south of Baseline.
Third down and goal for the Cardinals at the Houston 5. You put Logan Thomas in shotgun. Thomas has been sharp on his first NFL possession. Parmalee on the handoff, and he'll lose yardage. Cardinals running a little bit of an option there with Thomas, who did some of that in college. And so the field goal unit will come out after a 2-yard loss.
Well, that is the one thing that I think we'll see to some degree. If in fact Logan Thomas makes this team the way that we think that he will, you're going to have to put the zone read in for the Arizona Cardinals because of Logan Thomas. You never know. Something might happen. That package and the 5 plays that come off of it. And again, there are many, many more plays that come off, but they're going to put that package in for Logan Thomas.
Catanzaro nails a 25-yard field goal. He's perfect on his kicks tonight.
Player was pushed to the corner. The kicker was already
23-0 Cardinals lead. I think there was actually a penalty on Houston too, but it was declined. That 32, a very popular jersey in Arizona. Looking to have Tyrann Mathieu back soon. Hey, for every successful Cardinals field goal, Cigna will make a generous contribution to Cardinal charities benefiting the Muscular Dystrophy Association. Chandler Catanzaro, perfect, 3 of 3 on field goals, and the Cardinals lead at 23-0. 2 touchdown passes, one by Carson Palmer and one by Drew Stanton. Can't wait to get the Badger back. Hope to see him practicing soon. Cardinals have a bye week after week 3. Keep that in mind as a potential target date, although he'd love to play week 1 against the Chargers on Monday night. We'll definitely see Carson Palmer on Monday night. You'll hear from Palmer next. He'll talk with Jody.
And welcome back to University of Phoenix Stadium. Cardinals up on the Texans 23-0 here in the fourth quarter. Jody Jackson on the sideline with Carson Palmer. Carson 5 for 5, 84 yards. Did you accomplish everything you wanted to set out to do in your small time out there today?
Yeah, I think so. I think our mindset was really to just come out and be efficient. And we got ourselves in a couple of 3rd and long situations and got ourselves out of them and really just came out and executed. And that's really what you want to do getting out of this first preseason game.
You didn't have Ginn and Floyd today, but we got to see a lot of the young players shine. One of them is John Brown, who I know you invited to your home in the offseason. How did those workouts translate onto the field today?
Well, we just got a chance to really catch up on our rhythm and the timing of the passing game. But he looked really good, just like he has all camp. Jerron Brown, number 13, looked really good. He's had a phenomenal camp. So, when you have a chance to get those young guys in with the starters and when Ted Ginn's down and Mike Floyd's down, it gives those guys a chance to play against starters and play with starters. And when you're young and don't have a lot of experience, this kind of night for those two guys can go a long way.
You said the other day you like to get knocked down a little bit just to get the soreness out of the body because that's going to happen during the season. You did early, but then you were pretty clean. So how do you feel about the protection, including your new left tackle, who you've known for a while?
Yeah, Pocket was great. Pocket was great. I mean, Jadeveon Clowney's a very good player. Obviously, J.J. Watt's a great player. Protection was really good. It was a really clean pocket. You want to get hit, knocked around a little bit, but it was good to have that happen on 2nd down and get us put in a 3rd and long situation and have to overcome it. And little John Brown got out there and ran a circle route around a guy and got wide open.
Finally, how do you feel about this offense 2nd year? How much more comfortable are you?
Tremendously more comfortable. There's no comparison to where we were a year ago at this time coming into this first preseason game. Guys are confident in the system. They're confident in knowing that the system works and just comfortable with each other. The guys up front, there's not a ton of continuity because we've had to kind of shuffle that roster, especially when Lyle went down. So those guys getting a chance to play together and Coop and Paul and those guys on the inside, it's really good work for them to go in against guys like J.J. Watt.
Certainly looked very comfortable out there. 5 for 5 again, 84 yards. Thanks, Carson.
Thanks. Thank you.
All right, guys, we'll send it back up to you.
Carson Palmer, Jody, first NFL player ever with 4,000-yard passing seasons for 3 different teams, Bengals, Raiders, and last year a career high 4,274 yards for the Cardinals. He was perfect in the first half. Cardinals as a group pretty close to that all night. They lead 23-0. 23-0 Cardinals lead as we look at our Toro ground stats. Toro, count on it. Did you know that Andre Ellington led the league in yards per carry last year? It was aided by that beautiful 80-yard touchdown against Atlanta. He started 1 game last year. They're hoping he starts all 16 and gets over 1,000 rushing yards and 1,000 receiving yards. First down for the Cardinals on their 31. Bowman from Chandler went to NAU. He's to the 44, about 13 yards. Nice run there by Bowman.
You love to see this too, right? First and 10 situation. You go ahead and hand the ball off. He bounces it to the outside. And the reason why I know the coaches want to see that and think it's important because you better believe a play-action pass is coming here, especially when you got a guy with the hose that Logan Thomas does. They're going to air this thing out at some point in time.
Bowman hoping either to be a practice squad player or catch the eye of one of the other 31 teams. Going to be tough to make a roster as a running back with the guys they have here. Bowman near midfield. Here's another flag.
Holding, offense, number 83. 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Walt Powell. Multiple penalties on him tonight, but I don't think he's alone. Let's go back to Andre Ellington, Wolf, and a guy that I don't know if he was the John Brown of camp last year, but he was a guy that people were talking about, and he lived up to the hype last year. What do you expect here in year 2?
Yeah, I think he's going to be basically Jamal Charles. Jamal Charles, 199 pounds with the Kansas City Chiefs, of course. I think that probably is the best comparison. Bruce Arians talking about how he's going to make Andre Ellington the focal point of the offense. Again, I'll believe it when I see it. 20-25 touches a game. Yet at the same time, I was talking to some coaches, guys that I have an awful lot of regard and respect for on this team that believe he's a 2,000-yard-a-year player, just like Charles. 70 receptions, they're going to get him the ball. They're going to do it in creative ways. You know what a good route runner he is? The fact that he can actually play the wide receiver position, the Cardinals going with empty sets, the tackle zone, the inside zone.
Well, he had over 1,000 yards from scrimmage last year at about 10 touches per game. They're hoping to double that in terms of touches. As Thomas hands it off, was about to get tackled as he handed it off to Bowman, who's up to the 49, a gain of 8. So 3rd down and 4 or 5 coming up here for the Cardinals.
He's a rare talent, David. He really is. Because there's not many running backs you can take and split them out. I'm thinking Chris Johnson. I'm thinking Jamal Charles. Split them out in the slot, right? Or even put them on the edge, the perimeter.
At TW Crunchy has a question, not just about Ellington, but how Steve Keim keeps finding guys like Ellington. John Brown, really not a late round guy, he was a 3rd round pick, but you know, that's something that Steve's done since he really since he got here as a scout. Finding late round gems as Logan Thomas is going to throw here on 3rd down and 5, and that's caught. Nice job by Golden to pull it in for a 1st down.
Nice job by Golden. But again, Logan Thomas taking his drop, going through his progression, throwing the ball with accuracy. Right now, if you had no idea that Logan Thomas struggled to throw the ball with accuracy, you would never believe in a million years that that's a problem for this kid. Boy, I am really, really impressed with Logan Thomas and the job he's doing right now.
Run play on 1st down as Bowman is hit hard in the backfield and dropped for a loss. Chris Young, rookie out of Arizona State, on the hit.
You go back to practice, right? And this is the National Football League. This is what they do. They chart every throw, of course. Logan Thomas has a great completion percentage in practice. And up until last week had not thrown a pick. He threw his first pick last week.
He's 9 of 10 tonight. I believe the one incompletion was on that deep ball, which was just overthrown. 90 yards, so you're talking 9 yards per attempt and a 90% completion rate. 2nd down and 11. And Thomas again on target. Walt Powell with the catch. 11 yards and a 1st down. Thomas now 10 of 11 passing.
Watch this laser beam from Logan Thomas. Oh my goodness, on the 4 route, watch the ball come off his hand. Boom! It is a laser.
Pretty good pocket too for him. O-line has done a good job all night. A 1st down. Bowman gets the call and again dropped at the line of scrimmage. Marcus Williams there defensively.
You know, and again, of course, a lot of people can say, well, you're playing the Houston Texans. It's here in the witching hour, the 4th quarter of the preseason game, the first preseason game, and it's the lowly Texans, and there's a lot of guys on the field that aren't going to be playing in the NFL. Let me tell you, none of that matters to a coaching staff when they break down film and they evaluate it, because it sure beats the alternative. Once again, he's going through his progression. He's taking his drops. He shows poise so far.
Here's Thomas again, and here comes the flag. Pass was intended for Dan Buckner, and he was mugged by Marcus Williams.
They want to see 6 go through his progressions and make the correct read, see coverage, not just read it, see it, and make an accurate throw.
Defense number 40. That's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot, and it has an automatic 1st down.
5:56 left. Cardinals play Minnesota. 22 penalties, and boy, I think we've had some ones that have been declined too. Those are the ones that have been accepted. Cardinals play in Minnesota. They'll play at TCF Bank Stadium. That's where the Vikings are playing right now. That's where University of Minnesota plays its games. Here's a pitch to Bowman with blockers out in front. He's inside the 25-yard line. It's planted at the 22, 8-yard gain. Don't forget, Cardinals open the regular season here Monday night against the San Diego Chargers, who were, if you will, the Cardinals of the AFC in the second half of last season. They were the team that got hot and did not make the playoffs. But Phillip Rivers, excellent quarterback. I don't know if you put him in that elite category, Wolf, but he's close.
I'd put him in the next category down. The great quarterback can win a Super Bowl with quarterback category, if there is such a thing.
Your 2nd and 2 going to be Bowman again, and tried to go outside and get tackled for a loss by Williams. Think about the schedule. We know about the NFC West, toughest division in football. Weeks 1 and 2 for the Cardinals. You've got San Diego at home and the Giants on the road. If you had those games in the early part of 2013, you might be able to put in the win column, but San Diego, as we mentioned, much better at the end of last year, and the Giants, if they're healthy, and if Eli, sometimes he's his alter ego, that's a dangerous week 2 matchup on the road.
You know what, though, David? The NFL is a year-to-year proposition. It really is. You just don't know which teams are going to have a great year and which teams are going to take a step back. It's one of the reasons why the NFL is so popular, in my opinion. You just don't know. It's the league of hope, whether it's having a great year going from worst to first. We see that often in the National Football League, right? And even in a game, some of the upsets that we've seen, I just, you can't put one in the win column at all when you look at the schedule. In my opinion, the athletic process has got to be satisfied.
4th down and inches. The Cardinals are going to go for it here. Logan Thomas certainly big enough to pick it up on a quarterback sneak. We'll see. And that's what they're going to call, and look pretty easy there for Thomas. And at 245 pounds off the right guard. Move the chains.
Boy, watch this. Logan Thomas got the leg drive, lowered the plow, and hit the gas. You knew that was coming. Got the fans all fired up. Grow the beard. Start giving the first down signal. Lose your mind. Boy, that is good stuff right there.
Damian Thigpen gets the call on 1st down. He's to the 15-yard line, so pick up a 3. What are some of the things, Wolf, that you want to see the Cardinals do better week 2 of the preseason against the Vikings?
Boy, let me think about that. I mean, honestly, they performed so well. The young guys, I just want to see a continuation. I want to see that Kevin Minter is for real. What we're seeing in training camp and practices, what we saw on the goal line scrimmage. Didn't see a ton of them here tonight. Made a nice play, tapped it into the air, and it was going the other way on an interception. Bobby Massey continued to go out. I thought the only goal Bobby Massey should have had coming into this game was to get 12 plays in, 10 to 12 plays without a mental error, without making one mistake. I want to see that trend continue because he's been doing better in practice. Just want to see some of these guys that the Cardinals are counting on, John Brown, continue to progress.
Well, you would imagine the Cardinals starters will play a little bit more next week, and then week 3 of the preseason on Sunday night against Carson Palmer's former team, the Cincinnati Bengals. Andy Dalton getting a brand new contract. You would think we'll get our best barometer for what we might see in the regular season based on that 3rd preseason game. Certainly Denny Green would agree with that. 2-minute warning, 23-0 Cardinals. This season, Sanderson Ford will be recognizing our servicemen and women through their Seats for Soldiers program. For more, go to sandersonford.com. By the way, an angry Charger fan tweeted me, Chargers made the playoffs last year.
Yeah,
my mistake.
What did you say?
I said they didn't. I was comparing them to the Cardinals and how they got hot in the second half of last season. Mistakenly said they did not get in, but they did. We'll see them Monday night here to start the 2014 regular season. Any other mistakes, feel free to tell Wolf about it at Wolf987. Logan Thomas on 3rd and 4. Great job of getting out of trouble and finding a wide open Dan Buckner for the touchdown.
Well, that puts the exclamation point on a very good start for Logan Thomas. Look at the Nuds, they love it. The Nuds are up there high-fiving. Let me tweet this picture out of Logan Thomas throwing this. Look at this. Moving up in the pocket, buying some time, extending the play, finding a receiver, keeping his eyes down the field. Boy, that is a nice play. And again, the exclamation point to a very good night for Logan Thomas.
I think the Chargers had 17 men on the field.
12 men on the field by the defense. It's a 5-yard penalty.
Texans had 17 guys out there, Wolf, so that's a penalty. So instead of, they're going to decline it. Look, BA wants to decline it to make Catanzaro work on these longer field goals.
That 5-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff. The try will be made from the 15.
He wants Catanzaro to work on these. Again, this is a real kicking competition. It's not a sure thing. Jay Feely, great on field goals again last year, 30 of 36, but kickoffs at age 38 doesn't have the leg strength he once did. So Catanzaro, a legitimate contender based on what we've seen tonight and in camp. Let's see what he does here on the extra point, and again splits the uprights, which by the way are now 5 feet higher. That's a new rule. Did you know that?
You love the 5 feet higher. You love safe. It's a pole, David. Look at the Nuds.
30-0 Cardinals. Time for the SRP Power Performance presented by SRP, delivering more than power. Carson Palmer said he wanted to get hit. He did. J.J. Watt, the best defensive player in the league, got a sack, but Palmer still perfect on a scoring drive. Rob Hauser with a big catch and run, and then Larry Fitzgerald had caught 10 touchdowns from Carson Palmer during the regular year in 2013. Made it 6-0 Cardinals, and they've been rolling ever since. 30-0. 153 left as Catanzaro kicks it deep, but taking it out of the end zone is Joe Adams, and he will not even make it to the 10. Got another timeout. Logan Thomas very sharp tonight as the Cardinals going to win their preseason opener. We're back inside the Ford broadcast booth, brought to you by our Arizona Ford dealers. People have been tweeting Wolf all night at AZ Cardinals, and here's from Jam Ham 666, over under 12. How many times this year will your judo grip on the English language stupefy me into silence?
The judo grip.
Definitely over. 12 is a very unambitious guess, don't you think?
I would agree. But I'll tell you what, man. This is a game I could see you playing, David. I could see you out there in the fourth quarter playing a little defense right now, right? Walk around, you're all calm, cool, and collected. We all know there's a Savage that lies beneath.
Here's Savage back to throw, literally. And the pass is caught at the 15. You didn't know I was going there, did you? It was Bester on the catch. I stupefied you.
There it is. You did right there. I had no idea
Timeout,
Savage was in the game.
That's their first. It's a 30-second timeout.
We're talking about Tom Savage, the quarterback for the Texans. So you weren't leading me there? That just happened to fall into place. Huh?
That just happened. It's kind of like Bill O'Brien. Did that just happen? Calling the timeout here. I mean, I get it. I understand. You got Tom Savage into the game. You want to see what kind of Savage he may be. Throw the ball out there. But still, you should call it a day. Bill O'Brien is a brilliant man, and I think he's going to be an excellent coach. But whether or not he experiences the kind of success or not that his mentor, Bill Belichick, has, will probably depend on him not trying to beat Bill Belichick, but to be himself.
Savage in trouble and sacked inside the 10-yard line. Oh, Adrian Tracy has made a couple plays. Did not play in the league last year, but he played with the Giants 2 years ago, played in every game, trying to make this Cardinal roster. Their timeout here by Houston.
It's a 30-second timeout.
I really enjoyed last week watching the Pro Football Hall of Fame ceremony, and I know you got a chance to play with Aeneas Williams.
Yes.
1:32 on the clock. 1:32 on the clock.
What an incredible human being. That is the first thing that comes to mind when I think of Aeneas Williams. And then I think of his rookie year when he showed up, and within 3 days at training camp, grizzled veterans stopped and watched him do one-on-one against the receivers. Stopped to watch Aeneas Williams because he was like glue on the receivers. And Roy Green, a guy I have the utmost respect for, walking over to me just shaking his head saying, Wolf, that kid we got in the 3rd round, he's going to be a player.
Here's a safety. JoJo Dixon drops Savage in the end zone for 2 points.
Boy, that was a nice job right there by JoJo. JoJo on the blitz, unblocked. Did a good job. Got to be careful with that head. But Tom Savage did not see him. Obviously a blown assignment. You know what? You get the opportunity, you better make the play. And JoJo made the play.
32-0 Cardinals as Dixon gets the sack. And now the Cardinals will get the ball with 1:28 left. So this will be good work here for Logan Thomas running the 2-minute. As the Texans will either kick or punt from the 20-yard line. Dixon out of Idaho. You'd have to think an inside linebacker. Obviously, you have the starters in Minter and Larry Foote, and probably Kenny Demmons and Lorenzo Alexander. Probably have your 4 at that position, although guys like Jonathan Brown and Glenn Carson, free agents from Illinois and Penn State respectively, have had good camps. Just the depth, though. You think about where the Cardinals were 10, 12 years ago in terms of depth. Now you've got guys, most of your depth in training camp, guys that have been in the league. I mentioned Adrian Tracy. The guy's got 4 years under his belt in the NFL, and he's basically a 4-stringer here.
Yeah. The Cardinals got some dudes. They really do.
And Reggie Dunn on the punt return. Dunn gets to the 29. He was on 4 different practice squads last year. Another guy with a little experience. Checking with Jody with 1:23 to go in the game.
Guys, just an update. I know Dave, you touched earlier on Tyrann Mathieu and his comeback from the knee surgery. He's bothering Bruce Arians every day, wants to come off the PUP list, but he said, look, I understand, and I want to be the same guy that I was last year when I was on the field and healthy. And he said, if I'm 90%, I'll probably say I'm 100%, but part of it is I have to be honest with them. So he's talking about the trainers and the coaches. So as much as Tyrann Mathieu, he came out and said, I want to be out there in week 1, but he knows he has to be closer to 100%, and that's probably going to take a little bit longer.
Jody, Cardinals are just, they're going to be content here just to take a knee and end the game. But it was interesting, Wolf, one of the first days of training camp practice, we're on the sideline. Carson Palmer walks out, pretty big roar from the crowd. Larry Fitzgerald comes out, a little bit bigger roar, and then Tyrann Mathieu comes out, and the place erupts. He has quickly become a fan favorite here with Cardinal fans.
You know, I think most fans, for the most part, David, most human beings, I think we see a vulnerability with Tyrann Mathieu, and he's been very forthcoming with that vulnerability, as we all know, and that here's a guy who's working hard to do the right thing. And I think we can all empathize and see a lot of that in ourselves. The fact that none of us are perfect, yet at the same time we're striving to be better. And I think that's the connection that a lot of people make with Tyrann Mathieu.
That'll do it for preseason game number 1. The Cardinals looked very good on both sides of the ball. Still 3 more preseason games to go before the Monday night opener against the San Diego Chargers. But a great start. Larry Fitzgerald with a touchdown catch. Wolf got to wax about Jadeveon Clowney, which he's been looking forward to doing.
The king of all freaks.
And Dale Buchanan made his presence felt as well. We'll wrap it up. We come back to University of Phoenix Stadium, where the Cardinals take the preseason opener, routing the Texans 32-0.